Hello, everyone. This is Rose. Today's topic from the Book of Life is Everybody Plays a Fool Sometimes. Being naive and green behind the ears leaves one vulnerable to predators. Let's take a look at this short story from the Book of Life. After several temper tantrums, Cindy's parents agreed to allow her to attend Howard University in Washington, D.C. Her parents initially wanted Cindy to attend Spelman College so that she could remain home while attending school. They have concerns about Cindy living away from home in a college dorm. The Coopers has always protected their daughter, who is their only child, by monitoring her friends, activities, and whereabouts. Cindy and her best friend Michael have been friends since they were babies. As a matter of fact, Michael is her only friend. Michael's dad and Cindy's dad are second cousins. Michael's parents, the Blackmans, raised him with similar values to how Cindy was raised. However, Michael was not raised with any restrictions as Cindy. Michael participated in sports and attended parties in high school. At the age of 16, his parents bought him a car. Michael is the reason why Cindy's parents is allowing her to attend Howard University, because Michael is attending the same school. They both will live on campus in the dorm, and Michael vowed to Cindy's parents that he would look after their baby girl while they are at school. He promised them, "You don't have to worry, I got her." 2 weeks prior to school starting, Michael's parents drive with him in his car to Howard. The Blackmans flies back home after spending a day in Washington with Michael. Before flying to Washington, Cindy's parents shipped items they knew she would need for school and for her dorm room. So the Coopers, they arrived only 1 week prior to the start of school. They helped Cindy fix up her room, make sure she was well familiar with the locations of her classes, the school library, and the school security station. They didn't want to leave their baby. They had to make sure she knew, how we are as parents. Take our kids to kindergarten, we stay right here, don't go here, don't. That's what they did for their baby Cindy. So Cindy's parents flies back home 2 days later after having dinner with her and Michael, making sure they give them the final do's and don'ts before they flew back home. Cindy was excited and nervous at the same time about finally being able to be separated from the strong arm control of her parents. Michael promised Cindy's parents that he would check in with her every day. He keeps his promise by calling her or texting her daily. He didn't get in her face. He didn't knock on her door every day. He keeps his promise by just checking in, making sure she was good. Cindy made an appointment with the dean to discuss attaining 2 degrees within the time frame of attaining 1 degree. Her hope is to have the general course credits applied to both degrees, so that she will only need to take the major course for each degree separate. She feels it's a waste of time and money to take the general courses twice. Smart girl. Why go back to school and take up a second degree, start over again when you're already in school? Just take the major courses. Hey, get 2 degrees. Cindy arrives 10 minutes early for her appointment. She was called into the dean's office by someone who looks to be her age. "Hello, Cindy. Please have a seat. I can tell by the look on your face you are surprised to see someone young as the dean." Cindy nods her head up and down without speaking. "Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Gerald Brown. I am an intern for Dean Anderson. I started my internship at the end of last semester. Although I have attained a master's degree in education, I am currently in the process of attaining a PhD in education. Not that this is relevant to you, but I am 28 years old. In Dean Anderson's absence, I am more than qualified to handle his affairs. With this being said, how can I help you today?" Cindy talks to Gerald about her desire to combine courses in attaining 2 degrees at the same time. Gerald informed Cindy that it was attainable and she would need to only pay the additional amount for the major course classes in the 2nd degree. Gerald was smitten by Cindy's beauty and her quiet, shy personality. He called her several times after their meeting to follow up and make sure all is going well. That's how it usually starts. Once Gerald saw that Cindy was settled with her new class schedule, he called her to ask her out to dinner. She thought, Gerald is an attractive man, but I'm not thinking about dating anyone while I'm in school. She never had a boyfriend or dated anyone before. She did not feel comfortable. Her classes were consuming all her time. Cindy thanks Gerald for his interest before politely declining his offer for dinner. Gerald was not giving up so easy. They never do. He could see that Cindy was green behind her ears with very little to no experience in dating. Gerald decided to take it slow by gradually digging a place in Cindy's heart for him. Isn't that something, how they skilled in how to get next to a woman and can spot her when she's green behind her ears? Pay attention. He would leave a single rose or a very small bouquet of flowers outside her dorm room from time to time with a handwritten note on a small card. The note always had a happy face with his initial and the word heavenly. On evenings that Cindy did not use her meal card, he would order a healthy meal to be delivered to her dorm room with a note stating, "Your physical health is just as important as your mental knowledge. Enjoy the meal." Smooth operator. Gerald would also text Cindy in between her classes. He would text her inspirational pictures or quotes. He was careful not to distract her during class time. On many occasions, Cindy found herself daydreaming about Gerald when she was at the library. She begins to wonder what it was like to have a boyfriend. She didn't know how to kiss and was frightened to ask Michael. She would catch Michael and his girlfriend kissing in the student recreation hall, but she didn't have the guts to ask him how to kiss. In November, Cindy began to hear earshots of students' conversations. She overheard them discussing their plans for Thanksgiving weekend. She discovered many of the students were going home for the week. Some students were going home with other students to celebrate with their families. To her surprise, many of the students were staying on campus during Thanksgiving week. She decided to stay so that she can use the time to study and, just get caught up on some things. Michael informed Cindy that he was going to fly home instead of driving. He asked her if she wanted to travel on the same flight as him. Cindy told Michael that she was staying on campus to study and complete some assignments that would be due after Thanksgiving. Cindy's parents were concerned about her being on campus without Michael, but respect her decision. Cindy was able to convince them that all is well. Her parents wanted her to excel in her courses as much as she did. After the students left for the week, Gerald ran into Cindy eating in the school cafeteria. Walking with a tray of food in his hands, walking towards her, he stops at her table and asks to join her for dinner. As Cindy looks up at him, her heart began to jump like floating butterflies. She thought back to all the gifts, the food, and texts he sent in the past 3 months. She invited him to sit. They sat there and talked for hours. She couldn't believe that she was able to engage in a conversation with someone other than Michael for hours. Gerald and Cindy spent the entire Thanksgiving weekend together. Smooth operator. She received her first kiss on Thanksgiving Day. Gerald, sensing that he was her first, took it slow. See, an experienced man can always tell when this is a woman's first time. This allowed Cindy the ease needed to follow Gerald's lead. She found herself enjoying kissing him. She didn't want to stop. So Gerald took short breaks in between kisses in order to show Cindy that you have to come up for air. He was so smooth in how he taught this girl. Cindy asked Gerald, as an intern, why was he given such a great deal of Dean Anderson responsibility? Gerald explained that last semester internship was to complete the requirements for his master's degree, and this semester internship is actually a paying position. So it requires more responsibilities to be given because it's a paying position. It's helping me to pay for my doctor's degree, but it's not enough, states Gerald. He let Cindy know that he might have to drop out of school to find a better paying job in order to pay down his debt. Cindy asked him about getting a student loan. Cindy, I have maxed out the amount of loans I can qualify for without an income, without a large enough income. I am not making enough money to qualify for a personal loan. Of course, Cindy felt sorry for Gerald. She wanted to help, but knew that her grandparents' inheritance is for her education and was being controlled by her parents. So let me tell you what Gerald did. Gerald begins to spend time with Cindy in her room, and they went a step further than kissing. He fondled her as they laid in her bed kissing. She allowed his fingers to penetrate her to the point of ecstasy. It blew her mind. Gerald spending time in Cindy's room, fondling her, became a bi-weekly thing. Cindy's emotions is now all over the place. She can't stop thinking about Gerald. She doesn't want him to drop out of school. She needs him. Cindy begins to research the requirements outlined in her inheritance. She was able to find a loophole that allowed her to take out $20,000 without her parents' approval. She informed Gerald of the good news. Cindy paid in full the amount required for Gerald to receive his doctor's degree. At the end of the school year, Gerald graduated with a PhD in education. His family drove to Washington, D.C. from Philadelphia to attend the graduation. Gerald was so excited about graduating, he didn't think about Cindy. He assumed Cindy went home the prior week of graduation for a summer break with the other students who was not staying at the school for graduation. He figures by the time Cindy returned to school for the fall semester, he would be back in Philly. Little did Gerald know, Cindy delayed her flight for 10 days in order to attend the graduation. Because Gerald never talked about his family, she assumed no one would be there to cheer him on. Besides, she wanted to talk to him about their future together. After the graduation, Cindy, carrying half a dozen of balloons, is running across the field to Gerald. From a distance, Cindy sees this lady running across the field carrying a dozen of long-stem yellow roses. Well, you know they running was a light trot. They dressed up for graduation. They not sprinting across the field. They doing a light trot. Okay, so this lady is carrying a dozen long-stem yellow roses. She thinks to herself, Cindy thinks to herself, I should have brought Gerald some roses as well. The lady with the roses stops in front of Gerald. She hugs him with one arm while holding the roses. She kissed him on his lips before handing him the roses. Cindy walks up to Gerald as she gets near him. She thinks this must be a family member as she approaches them. Gerald, congratulations, shouts Cindy. Gerald turns around, sees Cindy, then pass out. He hit the ground. Gerald's fiancée takes the roses out the vase, then pours the water on Gerald's face. Gerald jumps up and begins to run. Gerald's fiancée shouts across the field as he running, asking him, "Where are you going?" Cindy, not sure what is happening, introduced herself to the lady as Gerald's girlfriend. By this time, Gerald's family see what is going on as they was approaching where Gerald and his fiancée and Cindy was standing. They was walking in that direction. So they see what happened. Gerald getting up, running. And then now the family sees what's going on and they realize they need to make it to the fiancé. So, because one of the brothers, he recalls that the last time something like this happened, an incident like this happened, it did not end up good for the fiancé or the so-called girlfriend. So Gerald's brother, he begins to run now across the field to prevent the fiancé from spending another 3 days in jail for knocking out one of Gerald's so-called girlfriends. They were not sure if they could make it in time, the brother and the family, but they was all going as fast as they could. As they watched the fiancée take off her shoes, then reach to pull for her earrings, the brother began to sprint. He had to make it in time. Gerald's brother made it. He grabbed the fiancée around her waist and pulled her away from Cindy, just as she was getting in position to swing. Cindy, still confused, asked, "What is going on?" Gerald's brother tells Cindy, "I just saved you from a TKO." "I don't understand," shouts Cindy. Gerald's brother proceeds to speak. "I do not know who you are, but this is Gerald's fiancée and the mother of his 3-year-old daughter. I could tell from afar by the way Gerald faked a faint, then got up and hauled ass off this field. You must be someone he messed around with here at this school. You are not the first, but I'm sure you are going to be his last. It's getting harder for me to hold Gerald's fiancée still, so I suggest to you, Miss Lady, that you get the hell off this field as fast as possible. The last time Bertha came to this school to see Gerald, she ended up in jail for 3 days after knocking a girl out who introduced herself as Gerald's girlfriend." Cindy turns and runs off the field crying. One of Cindy's female professors, who was observing the entire incident, she saw when Cindy ran past her, her heart went out to her. She followed Cindy to her dormitory. The teacher knocks on Cindy's door. "Cindy, this is Mrs. West." "Honey, you open up the door, Cindy." "This is your psychology teacher, Mrs. West. Please, honey, open up the door." Cindy opens the door. She is crying. "Cindy, listen to me," states Mrs. West. "You cannot beat up yourself because someone lied to you by not revealing the truth of their life. Everyone plays a fool sometimes. There is no exceptions to the rule. It doesn't matter how much experience one has in relationship or wisdom in life. Emotions will override it all. Emotions sometimes control our ability to think clear. Emotions sometimes control what our gut instinct is telling us, especially when the emotions feels like love. Please do not give up on school or finding true love in the future. Please allow me to counsel you when you return to school in the fall. I am more than a psychology teacher. I am a licensed psychologist who works with the hospital. Based on what I observe on the field, you need to heal from the experience in order to recognize and accept into your life a healthier relationship. Click the thumbs up and the subscribe button to receive notifications of more articles from the Book of Life. Be blessed, be safe, peace.